Operations at African Bank Limited have been stabilised and restructuring is on track. That's the word from the man appointed to rescue the low-income lender after its collapse 4 months ago.
The collapse of African Bank in August remains a major lowlight in the country's banking history. It crashed dramatically after announcing that it was headed for a record loss of 6.5 billion rand this year and 365 million for last year. The rising failure of low-income borrowers to repay their loans was cited as the main reason for the bank's collapse at the time. But the Reserve Bank has since launched an investigation into possible collusion by top management to defraud depositors of the bank. The investigation is still ongoing and a report is expected in February next year. Tom Winterboer, the man brought in by the Reserve Bank and National Treasury to rescue the bank, says he doesn't know how the investigation is proceeding, but he says he's making good progress on his own task of keeping African Bank open for business.
There are still some people coming to deposit retail deposits with African Bank, but it's never been a big part of what the bank has done. We may well, going forward, look at specifically, in terms of taking retail deposits. At the moment, there's roughly about 100 million only in retail deposits. The other side of it's in terms of opening bank accounts. Obviously, it's people borrowing from the bank, and there are quite a lot of repeat customers, but there are also quite a lot of new customers coming to the bank to borrow.
He says the collection of around 17 billion rand in outstanding debt owed to the bank is also going well, but he won't say exactly how much has been collected so far.
In terms of the number, rand value of collections, it's certainly well up and much higher than the 2 billion mark. So we're still in a very good territory around that.
When Winterboer took over 4 months ago, he said he wasn't planning to retrench any of African Bank's 5,000 employees. Now he says many have since left, but he denies retrenching anyone.
In a place like your rate to ship, unfortunately, people do leave the bank. In terms of the way forward, we'll obviously look at the new business plan. As I did say earlier on, we're looking at what the bank could and should be doing into the, in terms of new bank. That exercise will go through in January and February next year. And then in terms of jobs, if the bank expands, we obviously need to look at that as well. So it's not just a one-way thing, but unfortunately one cannot say that people's jobs are, there's no confirmation that it is there. But in the immediate future, as for now, we've got to look at the way forward and how the bank could and will expand.
Winterboer says the splitting of African Bank into two, the other half being the so-called Good Bank, is also on track. The process to appoint a new board and a CEO for the Good Bank is underway. This bank will be licensed and start operating early next year. Mbongeni Mutua, SABC News, Johannesburg.